eating meat has become an important part of our daily lives. It is actually quite widespread throughout the world and is part of the norm nowadays. However, there is a growing concern that eating meat is immoral and that it is quite harmful to the environment. Therefore, there is a motion made by the government that there should be a banning of meat production and consumption. However, the opposition believes that this is not necessary. Rather than focusing on banning meat consumption and production, rather we should focus on reducing meat production and consumption. Firstly, before the opposition moves on to the arguments, the opposition would like to respond to the statements made by the government regarding this matter. Firstly, the government states that it would give time for companies to change from meat-based business to other businesses, and then they would also provide subsidies. Firstly, it is unreasonable for certain companies. It is unreasonable for these policies to be implemented to certain companies because, simply put, giving time for big companies to change to other businesses and they're providing subsidies, yes, that actually is actually quite possible. That actually might work. However, if we implement this policy to small family businesses who entirely depend on these meat-based businesses, there is certainly no guarantee that if they change to other types of businesses, they will succeed. And because they depend on these businesses for the security of their livelihood, it is therefore unreasonable for them to change to other businesses. Because, simply put, this is not a matter of success; it's a matter of survival. Secondly, the government also states that they will find people who continuously consume meat and then change their diets into plant-based diets. This is also unreasonable due to various reasons. For example, the first reason is that it also depends on each individual's traditions. So if the tradition is to eat meat, then who are they to who to say that, okay, then you cannot eat meat anymore? You have to change to plant-based diets. And then secondly, uh, one also might need to consume meat due to certain health concerns. For example, if the person is allergic to certain meats and certain plants, then they simply cannot depend on plant-based diets. They have to move on to meat-based diets, so that they can also have an important access to sources of proteins and vitamins. Now, the opposition would like to move on to the arguments. These arguments are certainly responses to the ones that the government made. For our first argument, eating meat is not immoral, and for our second argument, reducing meat consumption will help the environment, but banning meat production consumption completely is not necessary. So, for our first argument, eating meat is not immoral because, firstly, the meat that we usually consume, we take it from livestock animals, and as proven throughout history, livestock animals. It is completely normal for us to consume meat that is taken from livestock animals. Secondly, it is also considered immoral for meat to be consumed because of how we handle the meat production. Is that we kill this animal ruthlessly. We do not give any choices for these animals. So for regarding giving choice to these animals, it is important for us to remember that as animals are not sentient beings. They are not the same as humans. They do not have the same level of intelligence to make choices of their own. So, regarding this argument, the government that we should give so that these animals can make choices, that is simply wrong because animals cannot make choices the way that humans make choices. So, and how we treat humans, and that we should treat animals the same as humans, that is also wrong because humans and animals, as already mentioned before, are not the same beings, are not the same level types of beings. Therefore, the argument on is that how we treat our livestock animals, these types of animals, cannot be compared to how we should treat our fellow human beings. Oh, and then the third one, it is also immoral for us to be eating because we tend to overconsume. Well, then that argument can also be can also be applied to to plants as well, because there might be people who overconsume plants, and that is actually should be bad. There are also cases where animals overconsume plants, which is actually can also lead to the argument that we should eat animals as well to avoid plants dying easily. So overconsumption of meat Yes, that is a problem. The opposition has nothing against. Opposition agrees on that. The overconsumption of meat is a problem. However, this does not directly mean that there should be a banning of meat production and consumption. Rather, we should focus. We should educate the people that they should reduce their meat consumption if they overconsume. And thirdly, for the regarding religious and social traditions, it also is quite irrelevant because religious and social traditions depend on each individual's beliefs. So if the person believes that it's immoral, then it's immoral to eat meat. If the person believes it's immoral to eat meat, then it's immoral. But if the person believes it's moral to eat meat, then it's moral. It depends on each individual's beliefs. So therefore, it cannot really be applied to this argument. So, and then the second argument is that the government also stated that banning meat production consumption will help the environment. Yes, yes, it will, but it's also quite unreasonable. Rather, we should focus on reducing it because banning meat completely it has also serious repercussions. So, firstly, the economic downturn. Meat has become an essential part of the economy of the food industry. Banning meat consumption production completely will shock the food market thoroughly and can even cause an economic crisis, which is simply put, not in everybody's interest. It is not in anybody's interest to have an economic crisis in the food market. And then secondly, there are already approaches to make sustainable farming for livestock animals, which means that there are already more ethical approaches to eat meat in respect to the environment. So if there are already approaches to make sustainable farming to livestock animals, then it should be okay for us to consume meat. We should not overconsume it, but we should still be able to consume it. Thank you.